What are you going to commit to? So a small daily check-in, a weekly marriage meeting, maybe do a yearly retreat. Maybe you pick up a hobby together and we're going to do this fun thing together. Maybe we're going to come up with a chore list and try to figure out how to make it fun. Like what are we going to commit to doing together as husband and wife to break out of this roommate phase? Hey, 1 Degree fam, I'm Nathaniel.
And I'm Zan, and this is the 1 Degree Podcast, where we talk about what it looks like to be married as followers of Jesus.
Look, we know that life gets full. Marriage, kids, work, church, sports, the list goes on and on. But we believe that a thriving marriage does not happen by accident.
Each episode will give you real conversations, practical tools, and biblical encouragement to help you connect deeply with your spouse and live on mission together.
So, whether you're folding laundry, driving to work, or maybe even working out, we're glad you're here with us.
Let's dive in. What is up, 1 Degree fam?
What is up, fam? Welcome back to the comfy, cozy, virtual leather couch. And if you were with us on video today, we are a sight to behold.
Yeah, he walked in the door for his lunch break, per usual, per our recording situation. And I was like, you've got to change. And he said, why don't you change?
I was like, why do you get to wear the fun thing and I don't get to wear my fun thing?
I think mine's a little less fun. Mine's like muted fun.
It's
Yours
still fun.
Is rad dad,
Bluey,
ugly Christmas sweater style.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then we got the Christmas tree in the background. It's great.
It's a sight to behold.
Yes. But happy you're here with us on
happy-
the comfy, cozy, virtual leather couch.
Almost Christmas if you're listening to this.
When this...
It will be the day before, or like the week of Christmas.
The week of Christmas is when this one will come out.
Yeah. So, Merry Almost Christmas. We're going to jump right in. Keep this, I told him, I was like, we've had some longer episodes, it feels like lately. I don't actually have the date on that, but I feel like the last time I checked, they were longer. And so I was like, let's do a quick, practical, punchy.
You're probably rolling your eyes because you know what that means when we say it's going to be a quick episode.
No, guys. I'm trying to keep this at 20 minutes. Let's see. Let's go.
Ready, set, go. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about why you feel like roommates, how to reverse it. I don't know what we're calling it, but something along those lines, because...
And how to fix it.
How to fix it. Like, yeah, why you feel like roommates, how to get out of the roommate stage, all that kind of stuff. We actually just did a survey. I think we've talked about this now in the past 2 episodes, but we did a survey. And that was by far the number one thing that came up, the exact phrasing of feeling like roommates, just feeling like you're living parallel lives and all those kind of things. And so I think the majority of the people that listen, of course, there's going to be exceptions, but have decently solid marriages. Like you're not coming here in like we're not framing this as like a repair your tragic marriage type situation.
This is your last chance.
Right. That's not what we do on this podcast. And so I feel like in general, it's people who are fine, but want growth. And just like us. I mean, like, I would say that's where we've been.
How would you define?
Okay, fine. Like, it's not something where up front, there's no abuse happening. This isn't like we've been separated for 6 months. This isn't like your marriage is generally like there's amicable feelings there. Yeah. You are likely, though, just kind of living, like I said, that parallel lives. Like you love each other. You're not in dire state of fighting all the time, but it's like you're just missing your ships in the night. You're talking more about logistics. You're what?
I would say the
missing
logistics
deep
take
connection.
over. Yeah, the logistics take over, and the emotional intimacy has kind of faded away. Like there's very little emotional intimacy. There's less connection. The main focus is on other things, like the logistics of who's picking up the kids, who's making dinner. I'm gonna go play basketball, you're going to go do your hobby, and before you know it, you're living parallel lives. You're in the same house.
Yeah, I'd say you're functioning kind of as business partners of your family. Like you're running the business of your family well, but you're not like going deep in connection and fostering like your marriage
Yeah,
relationship
or maybe
as
you're not running it
intentionally.
well.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
just the
That's
you're
just
kind
your
of painting it
focus.
in a good light,
That's
but
fair.
it could just be like, "Oh, man, I'm just annoyed all the time at my spouse, and
Yeah.
I don't feel like" yes, we're not on the brink of divorce, there's no abuse, there's no all this kinda stuff, we're not getting divorced, but I'm just really annoyed right now, we're not on the same page,
Yeah.
and there's little
It's like a
intimacy, physical, emotional, spiritual, all that kinda stuff.
That's fair. Maybe survival mode would be a way to
Yeah.
put this. Like we're just coasting.
Yep.
We're making it. So I think the number one reason that we hear the socially acceptable
Yeah, going into, like,
reason,
why
yeah,
okay, so why does this happen? Why do you feel like
yeah,
roommates?
why is this so common? I think most people would say we're just so busy.
Yeah.
That's just the socially acceptable answer for anything. It's, oh, yeah, I get it. I get it. And it's true. We are all so busy, and that's its own other issue to address. But that is not, I think that's an excuse if I'm being blunt.
Yeah.
I don't think that is a true reason because you can be so busy, busier than you are, twice as busy as you are. And I'm talking to you if you're listening. But you can be twice that busy and still have intentionality. It all comes down to priorities. It all comes down to priorities, is what I would say.
Yeah, I would just say I think that busyness in especially the United States, and I'd be
Hmm.
curious if it's elsewhere as well, but in especially the United States, it's almost like this badge of honor
Oh,
of,
yeah.
"Oh, yeah, how are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just so busy," or,
Hmm.
"Oh, how are you doing?" "I've just got so much going on right
It's like you
now."
feel important if you have a lot going
If
on.
your answer is, "Oh,
And
I'm
I'm
just so
saying this as
busy."
somebody who all the time says this. Like,
Yes. No, it's
I
true.
don't want to.
Yeah.
I should get it off my out of my vocabulary, but it is. It's like I
Yeah,
feel that all the
life is
time.
so full right now. I've got
Yeah.
such a full plate, all that kind of stuff. All the lingo to say that we're so busy. And that
Mhm.
is the reason that people would say, "Oh, man, we just feel like roommates. We feel disconnected because we're so busy." And like Sam was saying, I think if we're being transparent and honest and blunt, that ultimately that is an excuse because the reason that people feel like roommates isn't because of busyness, it's because of a lack of intentionality and because of a lack of
Discipline.
discipline. Yeah,
Yeah.
intentionality and discipline.
I mean, because the reality is you make time for the things you
Yeah.
prioritize. And if you
You
don't
make time for
believe
things you think are important, whether subconsciously or
it,
consciously.
yeah, and if you are pushing back on that, open up your settings in your phone and check your screen time
Yeah.
and see. There's some quantifiable metrics to tell you what you make time for. And would you rather spend, I mean, maybe answer this question honestly, but 15 minutes scrolling or reading through an article or checking your email, whatever it is, or 15 minutes having a check in with your spouse?
Yeah.
Well, they'll yield very different fruit in
Mhm.
the long term. So, and the short term.
Yeah, and I will say, like, we've been just very blunt so far. I do wanna recognize and empathize with the fact that the roommate feeling or stage or whatever you wanna call it is very easy to fall into. I feel like
Hmm.
we've fallen into it
Oh,
a
yeah.
number of times, and I don't want to I don't wanna negate the fact that life can genuinely be busy. Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's like, "Oh, you're not as busy as you think you are." It's like, no, I don't doubt that your life is busy, but what we're trying to say is that's not the primary reason you feel like roommates. It's not, because life is busy that we feel like roommates, so we have to somehow get less busy and then we
Right.
won't feel like roommates. It's no, hey, life is busy. How can we still be connected in the midst of a busy life? It comes through intentionality, it comes through habits, disciplines, all those kind of things.
Yeah. So let's get into to the practicals of how to make those changes. We kind of alluded to what
Yeah,
we said, intentionality and discipline and those things. But
yeah,
just like if you were to set out for some fitness goal, we do this a lot. We draw the analogy to fitness, but I think
yeah,
it's very tangible. And if you were like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, I'm going to whatever, get this different body composition percentages, you would have a plan and you likely wouldn't just putz or you don't it's not just about going to the gym and putzing around the weight room. It's about following through on things even when it feel like when you don't have the desire to do it. And that would be what I would
yeah.
say is discipline.
So, just threefold, break it down.
Yeah.
If we're breaking this down of, okay, what needs to change? How do we not feel like roommates? It takes 3 steps, and this is actually it's funny because a lot of this comes from Nick Bare's podcast, which is all
Yeah,
physical
Nick
fitness
Barrett does
related.
the go one more and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
but he talked about just the importance of intentionality,
No, his was
commitment.
commitment, discipline, and repetition.
Repetition? Oh,
Or
yeah, maybe that was it.
I think
Okay,
something
then
like that.
it was inspired by him, but it's not just
Yeah,
straight
we were
copied from
talking
him.
about it, and
Yeah, we
then
were talking and
yeah,
that kind of inspired this,
maybe not
but
repetition.
I would say intentionality, commitment, and then discipline. And
Mhm.
the intentionality piece of like, okay, threefold,
Consistency
how do we
pieces.
break that down? And I would say consistency falls under discipline for me
Mhm.
personally, but intentionality wasn't what is intentionality? It is the understanding, the realization that something needs to change. We feel like roommates, but we want to have a thriving, healthy, growing relationship. We don't want to stay as roommates.
Mhm.
It's this intentional piece of let's sit down, let's make time to
Mhm.
talk together how we can get out of this roommate phase. That's the intentionality piece. You need to start somewhere. You need to start with, trying to figure out a plan or whatever, but it starts with that conversation,
Yeah,
the
getting on the same
intentionality
page,
to get on the same
naming
page.
it, explicitly naming like, "Hey, this is step 1,
Yeah, exactly. So there's the intentional piece. Then comes the commitment
commitment."
piece.
Yeah, so this can be you can set the bar so low. Consistency is gonna be what's more important here than some grandiose overhaul of your marriage. This doesn't mean, "Okay, we're committing to a monthly retreat where the kids go away for a weekend and we have
Yeah.
this whole connection." That's very unlikely gonna be something that you can stay consistent in. So maybe it's staying committed to a nightly check-in of high-low buffalo for 15 minutes where you give each other your undivided attention, or we would advocate for that plus an hour or 30 minutes a week to do a weekly marriage meeting, and you're going to have this explicit you have something you're committed to and something going into it what you're going to do. It's not, I mean, it's better than nothing to say we have this time and we're just going to talk,
Yeah.
but I would say it's better than that even to then have a plan about what you're going to talk about. So it
Mhm.
is somewhat structured, and because the reality is otherwise you're going to default to the path of least resistance, which oftentimes is not intentional conversation. So I think if you're going to commit to something, start, like we said, just to reiterate, 15 minutes every night. Maybe it's before you go to
Even
bed.
five.
Even 5.
5.
Yeah, it doesn't even take that long. 15 is just like allowing time for the conversation to springboard
Yeah.
into something deeper. But high, low buffalo. High, the best part of your day, something great that happened.
Mhm.
Or at least
Better than
relatively
the rest of
speaking.
your crap day.
Yeah, whatever it is. Low, for your sake, I hope it was something great. Low, something that's burdening you. Maybe it's something that you guys could pray about, something that
Mhm.
just a lot of times we don't share those because we want to, depending on your personality type, a lot of times you just want to forget about it. It's like this deep or this like embarrassing thing or this thing you're feeling stressed about, whatever it is your low, but you don't want to put words to it and be vulnerable about it. But sometimes that's the best thing you can do for emotional intimacy in your marriage. And for your own sake, to not bear that burden alone. Buffalo, something surprising, something funny. I personally love a buffalo because it makes you rack your brain for something that you otherwise might not share. It's something that you kind of have to think back of like, oh, what's something random that happened that I haven't shared yet?
Something random, that's what I think of. It could be something funny that someone said, it could
Yeah.
be something weird that you saw or something that happened, something that you learned.
Learned.
It's
Yeah.
literally anything random that happened.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would say that whatever works for you, maybe it's a 5-minute high-low buffalo. Some people like doing roses, thorns. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you do, but it's just, hey, every day you should have a regular touch point with your spouse. You should be touching base with them every single day, even if it's super short, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10
Yep.
minutes, talk about how the day was, all that kind of stuff. And we try to wrap up prayer together with that, and all of that. So you've got that small daily check-in. And then like Zan, so if we're talking about the commitment piece, what are you going to commit to? So a small daily check-in, a weekly marriage meeting, maybe do a yearly retreat. Maybe you pick up a hobby together and we're going to do this fun thing together. Maybe we're going to come up with a chore list and try to figure out how to make it fun. Like what are we going to commit to doing together as husband and wife to break out of this roommate phase? And I
Hmm.
would say, again, like Zian alluded to, and she said, don't try to commit to something so big that you're going to burn out. Where,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to do a monthly weekend where we don't have the kids. Most likely you're not able to do that on a monthly basis. So
Hmm.
don't commit to something that um, that you're not going to be able to follow through in. And so that's the commitment piece. So if we're taking through the analogy of fitness, if someone is they want to run a marathon,
Mhm.
and so first comes the intentionality piece, is that decision of, hey, I need to get in shape. I want to do something. I want to figure out how to be healthier in the new year.
And I
What
would
does that
say
look like?
the intentionality piece in that regard would be, or maybe this comes with the commitment, but like signing up for the marathon, like having some intentional
No,
piece.
I would say that's the
You
commitment
think that's
piece.
the
That's what
commitment?
I'm saying,
Okay.
like, intentionality is, like, if you're
Okay.
thinking through the beginning
Naming it.
steps of, like, "Okay, I wanna be healthier in the new year, we're going into a new year, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna figure out what that means, and I'm gonna come up with some practical steps." Like, that's the intentionality piece versus someone who's like, "Oh, yeah, I should probably get in shape," and then do nothing
Right.
about it. So it's,
Yeah.
like,
An
setting aside
explicit
that
goal.
time,
Yep.
and then you're the commitment piece, and then it's like, okay, you sit down in that time, it's like, "I wanna run a marathon, I wanna become a runner," all that kinda stuff. The commitment piece is then you are signing up for the marathon. But then that leads to the most important piece, which is the discipline. And then I would also say the commitment is you sign up for that marathon and then you commit to a plan to training for it of, hey, I'm going to do the couch to 5K plan, or I'm going to do this certain plan to prepare for the marathon. Like, boom,
Couch to
I'm
5K
committed.
probably won't get you too ready for a
No, I
marathon.
know, but
I
I'm
hear you.
saying
Yes.
whatever the plan is, I'm
Mhm.
gonna commit to doing that. And then comes the most important piece is the discipline because,
Mhm.
you can there are plenty of people, and I know people who have had the intentionality piece, they've
Mm.
had the quote unquote commitment piece.
I feel like we talk about discipline so much just in
Yes,
life.
but then they don't have the discipline to follow through day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year to pursue that goal, to
Yeah.
pursue that.
Discipline is doing something when you don't want to do it. When the motivation isn't there, what?
I'm thinking of your favorite phrase.
I forget about that.
Yes. What is it?
Life, I don't actually know. Life is doing the same thing or doing things you don't want to do over and over until you die.
It's so inspiring here
But
at the
it
1 Degree
is
Co.
not the 1 degree.
Life is doing
What you don't want to do over and over until
over
you
and over
die.
again to
But
die.
it is. I mean, there's a lot of good too
And
and things
learning to love it, like,
and learning to
learn
love
to
it.
love it.
But I think it's because so often people will be like, well, "How do you wake up every day?" If not even just me, I see people
Yeah.
asking other people like, "How do you wake up every day?" Or like, "How do you work out all the time?" And like, how do you?" Even when you like don't have the motivation. Well, they
Yeah.
don't frame it like that. They'll be like, "How do you have the motivation to work out every day?"
Yeah.
And 99% of people who I've ever seen answer the question who are actually doing it successfully say, I don't have the motivation to do it every day. I discipline myself to do it when I don't want to do it. How do you prioritize protein? It's like, I want to eat carbs all the time. I prioritize the protein even when it doesn't sound good. How do you read books or like whatever it is that doesn't sound enticing to you? It probably doesn't always sound enticing to the person who's doing it well. They just have grown their discipline muscle.
It reminds me of, I think it was in that AI leadership book that I was
AI
reading. I
driven
can't remember.
leader.
AI Driven Leader. I'm not positive if this example is from that or from a different book, but I was reading and talked about, like, the first expeditions to the South Pole, and there was a race between, I think I'm gonna get the countries wrong, but it was, like, England and France or something along those lines, and so they each sent out an expedition, and they were
Yep.
trying to be the first ones to reach the South Pole. One of the teams had the mentality of, hey, no matter what, no matter if the weather is good, no matter if it's bad, we're going to go 20 miles a day. That is what we are doing every single day
Hmm.
until we reach the South Pole. The other team said, hey, when the weather is good, we're going to make as much progress as possible. And then when the weather's bad, we're just going to hunker down, lay low, wait for it to pass. And then, when the weather becomes good, we'll make up the ground then. And you might think that, oh, that makes sense. That's a sensible plan. It's like you can do more than 20 miles when the weather's nice and then, just hunker down. Sounds good to me. But in reality, the team that decided to do 20 miles every single day reached the South Pole. I think it was a month faster. And not only that, the team that didn't do that, they ended up like getting stranded and dying.
Yeah, that's what I think it was from that book because I remember
Yeah.
I read that too.
But okay, what were we gonna say?
Yeah, it's just that age old adage, slow and steady wins the race. And we were talking about this maybe it was when we were talking about the fitness analogy, but that idea of consistency, it's like not setting the bar low, but having it be something that you can be consistent in is
Yeah.
far more important than having some big goal. Because even if you're doing small things, I want to make sure that we don't get too into the analogy that we forget what we're talking about. But like
Yeah.
we're talking about getting out of the roommate stage. If you have simple check-ins every day, or you have a simple, like, we're going to start by just praying together every night or reading scripture
Yeah.
together every morning, like these simple things in your marriage, when you do them consistently every single day or 3 times a week, whatever it is that's consistent. It's not, if for every single day for 2 weeks is not as good as 3 times a week for the whole year, it's like, again, that idea of consistency. That's gonna be far more impactful than, "Hey, we're gonna, book a trip and we're gonna have a week where we just, like, have so much intentional time together." And it's
Yeah.
like, "Great, that'll be great for that week," but if you go back and you don't have these consistent rhythms, you're gonna go
Mm.
right back into that roommate
It's
stage.
like the person who just, like, works out super hard for a week
Yeah,
and then just stops. Like, obviously, that's not gonna be as productive as someone who just works out
20
3
minutes a
or
day.
4 days a
Yeah,
week for a year, and it's just understanding that with your marriage as well, and I don't know, again, like you were saying, I don't wanna get too far into the analogy, but it's also not it's so much more just about that discipline piece and that consistency
mhm,
piece than having, like, the right thing or the right method,
yeah,
of what to do
for
because
sure.
unless you're trying to be a professional athlete, when it comes to working out and staying in shape, it is so much, it's not about having the right gym routine. It is about having a consistent
Yeah,
gym routine.
the
And I
best
even think
workout
for
is the one
me,
you're gonna do.
yeah, and I think for me is like lately, just because of how ironically busy life has been lately, I haven't been able to go to the gym as much. I've been doing a lot more at home workouts.
We talked about
And
this last
so,
episode.
oh, okay.
A
But I was
lot.
just gonna say my upper body routine is just push-ups, pull-ups, bicep curls, triceps dips, shoulder presses, and then a
I
few
mean, it
other
reminds me,
miscellaneous.
I've seen a few accounts lately, probably because I watch them, it keeps feeding me them, but it'll be like these guys saying, "Seeing how if I can get ripped in 100 days doing just push-ups, sit-ups,
Squats.
squats." It's like
Yeah, something like that,
they're
yeah.
next to their bed. There's 0 equipment,
Yes.
and you watch it, and for 100 days, they look significantly different because, again, it wasn't elaborate, there wasn't all this equipment, it was just consistency. They just did it every single day, and, yeah, we talk about this all the time
All the time.
because it's real. 10,000 steps every day for a year,
Yep.
so much bigger than training for a marathon 1 quarter and then sitting on the couch the rest of the year,
Yeah.
you know?
And so just going back into it, bringing it back to, the roommate phase and
Maybe we should start a fitness
marriage. There
podcast
you
at
go.
this point.
Yeah. Hey, Nick Fair, you listening?
Fitness
Uh,
motivation for
n-
average Joes.
no, but and that's where it goes back to of within your marriage, do not let your feelings drive the
Mhm,
decisions or what
mhm.
you're doing in your marriage because if you wait to be like, okay,
Especially if you're in the roommate stage, you're probably not feeling a lot of
connection.
affection and connection
Yeah.
and all those things, and it's like you gotta do the thing when the
Yeah.
emotions aren't there.
So I think it starts with intentionality of, hey, let's pick a time, let's sit down, let's talk about, and this is the perfect time to do it. We're going into the new year. This
Mhm.
is when people do these kind of things. So do it. And
But
even if
don't
you're
be a
listening,
statistic, don't fall off by the 2nd week. That's
yeah,
80%.
yeah, that's what we were looking up. Over
Mhm.
80% of people who make New Year's resolutions fall off by the
2nd
second week,
week. It's
and
crazy.
only 9% of people who make New Year's resolutions actually stick with them throughout the entire year. Yeah.
I mean, 9 is shocking. If
Yeah,
80%
yeah,
of them
no.
are gone the
But it makes
first
sense
2
because if
weeks,
you stick
it
through,
weeds out.
it goes back. It's like
Yeah.
if you stick through and develop that discipline through the first, they say 21 days to make a habit. So I
Mhm.
bet it's like you make it through that first 21 days, you've got a habit and you're able
You're,
to
like,
continue. Likely.
exponentially more likely, yeah.
But that's just it. So it starts with within your marriage, the intentionality of, hey, let's sit down, let's talk through how can we focus on our marriage
Mhm.
and create and cultivate a healthy, thriving, growing marriage relationship in the next year. And even if you're listening to this 2 months from now and it's not the new year, you don't have to wait till the new year to
Oh,
do
please,
this.
no. If
Yeah.
you're wired like me, you want that. You want a Monday, you want a
Yeah.
January
But
1st, you
just
want all those
do it.
things, but just do it
No
every
better
day.
time than the present, right?
Amen.
But you start with intentionality, then it comes the commitment. So you have that sit down and you talk through, okay, what are you committing to? You're committing to the daily check-in. You're committing to the weekly marriage meeting. You're committing to a yearly retreat. You're committing to a chore chart and whatever it may be, you know, you're committing to something. And then the discipline, you actually put it into practice. You're following it. And write these things down. Like, what are you going to do? Because then when you slip up, when you start to not follow through, you can hold each other accountable. Hey, we said we were going to do daily touch point, or we're going to pray together daily. We haven't been doing that. Let's get into that. Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
And again, for us, it's the perfect time. Our weekly marriage meeting is when we have all those types of discussions of, hey, we're slipping here, we're doing this, whatever it may be. And so the weekly marriage meeting for us is like the most pivotal of our marriage rhythms. And if that falls, it's so easy to start feeling like roommates.
It's our keystone habit.
Yep.
Keystone marriage habit.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
1 degree shift.
Oh, I thought that
Really
was
quick.
kind of your
that's
1 degree
kinda
shift.
Is the 1 degree
it kind
shift.
of felt
You
like
take
it.
it away. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
guess, yeah.
choose one thing that you're going to regularly commit to. It was kind of just to reiterate what you said,
Yeah.
but to say it more simply is just pick whatever it is. Pick reading scripture every morning, or having that high-low buffalo check-in at night, or going for a walk together after dinner. Like rhythms that you can repeat, that you're focused on consistency more than anything else. And yeah, just name that together and then follow through on doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Intentionality, commitment, discipline.
All right.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. I think the next episode
And
that we publish will be
Year.
I can't do the math in my head. No, we'll have another one before the end of the year. But catch you next week. 1 degree. Bam.
Love you, fam.
Thanks for tuning in for this episode of the 1 Degree Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And we'd be so appreciative if you take just a few seconds to leave a rating and a quick review. We love to hear your feedback, and those ratings really do help make it easier for others to find this podcast.
And if you want to continue this chat or share your takeaways, we'd love to hear from you. Head on over to our Instagram at the 1 Degree Podcast and leave a comment or send us a DM. We can't wait to hear from you. Catch you next week, 1 Degree fam.